We as a market, at least here in Charleston, are incredibly saturated with real estate agents. Everybody knows somebody that has a real estate license. And of course, you owe it to yourself to have somebody represent you that's going to give you the best ability and shot at getting the best deal, at accomplishing your goals the first time around. Because I'll tell you, and this has been this way for years, but about 60% of our business comes from people that, or at least the listings that we sell, come from folks that tried the first time around with another agent, or second or third, or sometimes 4 or 5 agents before we get hired and we get the job done. We've had, and I'm not one that typically beats my chest, so to speak, and says how awesome I am on air, because I'm just not that type of person. But I'll tell you, we've had a lot of success stories this year in helping people sell their home that otherwise thought it wasn't going to happen for them. They'd given up on the process. They were irritated with real estate agents, and I can see why. There's a lot of, I guess there's a lack of training. There is a very low barrier to entry into the market, and real estate companies are essentially looking for people with a pulse that want to sell real estate, because how cool is it to be able to say, well, I've got a team of X number of people. And what really is important is, well, how efficient and effective is your business in accomplishing the goals of each individual client that hires you to do so? What is your productivity per agent? All those things. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just saying the market right now can be very challenging if you don't have the right person in your corner, especially when you're looking at buying a property. And so I first just want to talk about, some of these mistakes that I see happening in the market, things that we learn and discuss with buyers as we're on the phone with them. And really, before we even get to that, this is usually the time of the year, especially on my team, where we have a lot of people that reach out to us that are preparing for a home purchase or a home sale or a home investment here in the next few weeks or months. And I understand that not many people want to deal with moving during the holidays. And nobody's forcing you to, and very rarely do I see closings that occur, let's say the week of Christmas, or, the day before the day of Thanksgiving, things like that. What's important, I think, especially from a seller perspective, is that you gain visibility. You make yourself known to people that want to buy right now, so that you can dictate, so that you can negotiate a closing date that's favorable for you. Think about it. The normal amount of time that it takes to close on a property is about 45 days. So even if you put something under contract right now, you're still looking at a closing somewhere in January. But in order to get to that point, we've got to have a few weeks of prep and discussions, and getting the home ready for sale, and professional photography, and all of our marketing getting put into place. So for those of you that want to sell in January, February, before even more people put their home on the market, which we know inventory is an issue, but the less competition, the better. First thing I would say is just make yourself known. Let us be aware of your intent. And I can't tell you how important it is right now for real estate agents to be playing the role of matchmaker. And what I mean by that, and this kind of segues into one of the first pitfalls that I see, is that what most agents do is they have a conversation with somebody over the phone. They try to qualify that potential buyer as best they can. Tell me what you're looking for. Have you had a conversation with a lender? When do you want to move? Why do you want to move? All those qualifying questions. And then once it gets to the point where somebody actually expresses interest and wants to have a conversation with that real estate agent, then this is frankly kind of where they drop the ball. They say, okay, great. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll just set you up with a search on the MLS, and each time a new property hits the market and you want to go and see it, just let me know, and I'll schedule a showing for you. And so now they've given the buyers access to new listings as they hit the MLS, and they've put it all on the buyer's shoulders. They said, hey, you tell me what you like, and I'll go and show it to you. Really what should be taking place there is let's have a really in-depth conversation about what you like and don't like, about some homes that I can show you right now. Let me gather some real feedback. The more you communicate with us about what you like and also what you don't like, the more I can narrow in on that perfect home for you. And ideally, I'd like to be able to call you up when I see that property hit the market and say, hey, did you see that home at 123 Main Street that just hit the market this morning? Can you meet me over there at lunch today to go and walk through it? I think it's a really good option for you. And we say that not to be pushy salespeople, but we understand, and I think most buyers understand at this point, that if a property is well priced, it's in good condition, it's marketed well, looks attractive online, it's probably going to sell in a few days. And if it doesn't, then it's going to spill over into a week, 2 weeks, and it's still likely going to get multiple offers. So we'll talk in just a minute about how to win multiple offer situations. But the first thing I want to kind of get across to you guys is this. Our team has gotten incredibly good over the years at really understanding a buyer's needs, having an in-depth conversation with you about that, and then going out into the market and finding opportunities for you rather than just reacting to listings that hit the market by other real estate agents. In other words, one example of that would be if you can hone in on a specific neighborhood and we know, generally speaking, the bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage that you want, I can just go through tax data. I can look at the people that own those types of properties, and then I can use some software that I have at my fingertips, and I can download a list of names, numbers, addresses, and we call those people and ask them if they would entertain selling their home if we made them a fair offer. And so here's the trick to that. Not everybody, obviously, we're looking for needles in the haystack, right? But we find at least a dozen of them a year. We sell at least a dozen homes a year by understanding what our buyers are looking for and then going out into the market and flipping over as many rocks as we can to try and find that right person for them. And the great thing about that is that those people that want to sell their home, those are fairly uncontested, non-competitive deals. Nobody else really knows about them. It's not like they're listed for sale. They're not public knowledge. We have gone into the market and found an opportunity for the buyer that, frankly, nobody else really knows about. So that obviously is a big win for the buyer. But then the other thing is not everybody that receives that phone call that is interested in selling is ready to sell right now. Maybe they said, well, yeah, I would be interested, but I got to get my ducks in a row. You got to give me a few months here to figure out where I'm going next. And the great thing about having conversations with people right now that are saying things like, oh, yeah, we're thinking about making a move in the spring or maybe February, March, April, is that it just buys us more time to go into the market and find those people that have not yet made it to the point where they're actively for sale on the MLS. So the first thing that I'm seeing here as it relates to purchasing property in this market is that agents, which is no surprise, are just very reactive. It's a set it and forget it mentality. We're just waiting on you to tell us what you like so that we can go and show you the home. It works. Plenty of agents do it, but let's be real. It's a lazy approach. There's more than an agent could be doing for you. Which then goes to the second thing I want to mention, which is that agents that are having a lot of conversations with buyers and sellers have big databases of people that they can draw from. Now, of course, it matters as to whether that agent actually has an efficient way of searching through their database to find opportunities for the buyers and the sellers that they talk to, which we do. In fact, when I take a listing as an example, I can look at all the people that have visited my website over the past several years, and I can say, all right, who has looked in this area and in this price range? And with a few clicks of a button, I download a report that has everybody's name, number, email address, home address, if we have it, the properties they looked at, their buying time frame, and I can say, okay, well, Mr. Seller, for your home that you're getting ready to put on the market in James Island or wherever, we have 700 people in our database that have looked at similar homes over the course of the past year. That is just one of several target markets that we're going to communicate with about your home. And so think about that from a buyer's perspective. How nice would it be to have an agent call you and say, hey, I'm getting ready to put this property on the market. We've been in touch in the past, or you've been on my website in the past. I just wanted to make you aware of this opportunity before it hits the market. Are you still interested in looking? Tell me more about your search, blah, blah, blah. As a buyer, I would think that you would welcome that call because you are skipping to the front of the line. And there's just not a lot that agents are doing to help their clients skip to the front of the line. It's all just, hey, here's the arena that you have to play within. It's called the MLS. And as soon as something hits the market, then what matters the most is that you're the first one there. And that's an element of it, but it's not the only element. It's not the only thing that agents should be doing to bring you opportunity in a market where inventory is incredibly low. When it comes time to find that, when we find that property and it's time to negotiate, if we're in a multiple offer situation, there are several things that we can do to help you stand out from some of these other offers. And I won't get into the technicalities of how we write contracts a little differently or how we add or subtract certain things to make you look more attractive. But some of the things that we find to be incredibly helpful, frankly, it's not. These are not brand new tactics that the market has never seen. It's just we're prepared, we're educated, we're easy to work with. The perception that agent has or that seller has of how easy or how difficult you're going to be to work with actually does come into play. And so the first step is aligning yourself with a lender, if you're getting a mortgage, that can take you through the underwriting process and produce a letter at the time you write an offer that says, hey, just so you know, this person has already been through the process. We will be giving them a mortgage. We just need to find the property and we need to make sure that it appraises for the purchase price or more. That then shows the seller that, hey, you might as well be a cash offer. I mean, nothing is as good as a cash offer, but you might as well be because you're already approved for a mortgage. So many people wait until the last minute, which is a mistake. And they say, well, I want to find the right property first, and then we'll go through that process. And the lender really doesn't have time to do anything other than provide what they call a pre-qualification letter. It's a pull your credit. Let's look at your recurring debt, your income, analyze your debt to income ratio, determine whether you have the ability and the funds to buy a house. And then if you do, then we're going to put that on a letter. But hey, we haven't looked at your tax returns in great detail. We haven't looked at your bank statements. There are going to be a lot of questions that come up when they do that, which is why it's important, if you can, to go through that underwriting process. Let them go ahead and put their eyes on your financials. Let's make sure that there are no surprises there. Because frankly, nothing is worse than putting a home under contract, making plans to move, and then find out that the buyer can't get financing because they didn't go farther enough, they didn't go into the process deep enough to find those issues. And so now you've made all these plans to move and you can't. Now, frankly, the contract protects you and you can get your earnest money back if you're denied for financing in most instances, but let's not go there if we don't have to. So really the first step is just get approved for financing. Take it through that process. Yes, it's more work up front, but it helps you secure the home that you want. And so it's worth the extra effort.